Today I'm sharing with you how you can make your own keto cold brew coffee at home so you can achieve your weight loss goals in today's video. Guys, if you're new to my channel and you don't know who I am, my name's Autumn and I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition human performance. This is an exclusive video just for you guys who got the Purity coffee, which is really the only coffee that I drink. I partnered up with Purity for my Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge. I've been working with them for years and they really are the only coffee I drink. It's the only coffee I trust because it is organic and mold-free. Especially for me, having a history of anxiety, the mold-free component is extremely important to me. Now, if you're watching this, you probably have your own bag of Purity coffee already, and because of that, you have everything you already need in order to make the cold brew keto coffee. I'm going to show you how to make it with just the whole beans of Purity, but you can also make it with Pocket Purity, which is one of Purity's new products, which I'm a really big fan of. When they first told me about this, I was like, oh my gosh, that is actually brilliant. It's essentially a tea bag version of coffee so that you can take the Purity coffee with you on the go and you don't have to go through the process of pre-grinding your coffee, bringing it with you when you travel, and you can always have Purity on the go. Now, the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge starts on Monday, July 6th, but if you are new to the AM Peeps, this is the third annual Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge that I've been holding. The goal of it is to help to increase energy levels, help to make you get great sleep, help to tap into fat burning mechanisms, make it overall so that achieving your wellness goals is a lot easier than you're used to with traditional methods of calorie restriction or calorie counting. In fact, you can check out some of the other AM Peeps stories, such as Lane, who achieved her weight loss goal, as well as Kitty, who reduced her GERD and put her thyroid levels in normal range, and of course Kristen, who reduced her breakouts and skin redness. So I'll have those various stories linked down the description below so you guys can check them out. I'll also have the details for the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge down the description below as well. It's a 4-week long meal by meal challenge where you get the meal guidelines, but you also get and nutrient timing so that you can create your own meals that fit your lifestyle and fit your taste preferences while still staying on track. So if you are interested in joining the AM Peeps starting on Monday, July 6th, just make sure you click that link in the description below for details on how you can get started. And what's really great is the recipe I'm sharing with you guys today. This one is something that you can use every day in the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge. I'm really excited about it because during the summer, it's probably a little more hot out, unless maybe you're in Australia. So having an iced or cold brew option that you can use for the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge for your keto coffee is a really great alternative. Keto coffee is a really great tool to use if you are new to intermittent fasting because it helps to decrease your hunger level and make you feel more satiated. One of the main goals with intermittent fasting is to help stabilize the blood glucose levels and insulin response. Insulin is our storing hormone, so especially if weight loss is your goal, you really want to make sure that you're stabilizing and reducing this insulin response. Every time insulin is secreted, it physically blocks off something called lipolysis, which is our fat breakdown, and initiates fat storage instead. So with intermittent fasting and with the A and nutrient timing that we're using with the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge, the main goal with it is to help to reduce this insulin response, help to stabilize those blood glucose levels, and because of that, the keto coffee and even the cold brew keto coffee option are really great for this. And the reason why it is so great is because keto coffee doesn't contain any carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the main drivers of your body's secretion of insulin. So the more carbohydrates you take in, especially in the form of starches and simple carbohydrates and simple sugars, the more insulin that's secreted and the more storing effect it has on your body. So really, if weight loss is your goal, one of the main things that you want to be focusing on is decreasing that insulin response. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing with the cold brew keto coffee, as well as with the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge. Now, the cold brew keto coffee, you can have it black or you can have it with heavy whipping cream or coconut cream, as we'll get into that soon. But regardless, whichever option you use, you're still not going to have that increase in carbohydrates, which means that you won't have that insulin response either. So it's really great to use for intermittent fasting, but also for reducing that insulin response and helping to tap into fat burning instead. Now, in general, but also for the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge, I highly recommend only using Purity coffee, not just because it's organic, which that's a huge plus there, but also because it is mold-free. As I mentioned, that's really important for me because mold has been tied to increasing feelings of anxiety and stress. So by not having mold, it can help with reducing that stress response and helping to reduce my natural anxiety. But higher amounts of stress and the stress hormone are also linked to weight gain, specifically around the belly. So for that reason and multiple others, I'm using Purity coffee. It's literally the only coffee I use, and that's what we're going to use today. Okay, now let's get to the coffee. Now, this is a final product that I made, the final cold brew product. And making cold brew is extremely simple. It's almost silly how simple it is. It just requires a little bit of prep. All you do is take 1 cup of ground Purity coffee and add 4 cups of filtered water, let it sit in the fridge overnight, and then you're done. Now there's a little bit more details to it than that, especially for when it comes to the grind that you're using. I use around a French press grind, but you can also use a little bit more coarse. You don't want the coffee grind to be extremely fine. Otherwise that can make it so it's over extracted and it just tastes really bitter, and you don't want that. And if you're using one of those coffee grinders where it has the settings for what type of coffee you're making, if you put it to the French press setting, then this should be perfect. I added that 1 cup of ground coffee directly to a mason jar and then directly added in 4 cups of filtered water. Then just before filming this video, I strained it out. So what I did is I took another mason jar, lined it with what's called a nut milk bag, and I like to put a rubber band around it just so it helps it keep it in place so the whole bag doesn't fall into the mason jar. And then you just strain out the coffee grounds, and that's after at least 12 hours of soaking overnight in the fridge, but no more than 15 hours. So really looking for that range of 12 to 15 hours of soaking overnight. Now once you strained out just the liquid, you have your cold brew coffee. It's all set to drink. Something I also want to note is you can make single servings of this by using the pocket purity. So this is also really convenient. It actually makes it less difficult because you don't have to worry about straining it out using a nut milk bag. It's already pre-packaged in the tea bag version in the pocket purity. So for this, since it's just 1 serving, I would alter it by using 1 packet of the pocket purity and putting it in a jar with 1 cup of filtered water. Then after 12 to 15 hours, you can just remove the pocket purity and you're all set. In order to make this fit for the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge and for your weight loss or wellness goals, you have a couple options here. The first is just to drink this straight. So having black cold brew coffee. That still is not going to have any of the carbohydrates that will break your fast and cause the insulin response. So you can absolutely have this black if you prefer it. I like to cut it with a little bit of heavy whipping cream, which I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. So obviously you just start off with the glass. It smells so good. Now I'm gonna start off with this much and add some ice because it's obviously going to fill up more once we add ice. Okay, so I've just added the ice. Now with regular keto coffee, we use grass-fed butter and unrefined coconut oil, or we'll use cacao butter and coconut oil for a plant-based approach. Now, since we have this ice and since it is cold, adding butter and coconut oil or even cacao butter and coconut oil is going to make it very clumpy and not a very good experience. So alternatively, we can use heavy whipping cream as a really great option instead. Now, the key with heavy whipping cream is that you want to stick with no more than 1 tablespoon. Reason why is because if we go above that, then we start to add in a full gram of carbohydrates. If we keep to 1 tablespoon of the heavy whipping cream, then we're below that 1 gram of carbohydrates and we aren't at risk of stimulating an insulin response. 1 gram is still fairly low. It's probably not going to stimulate very much, but to get best benefits, we really want to make sure we're sticking to less than 1 gram of carbohydrates. So for that reason, I'm going to measure this. I rarely measure things, but because of that specific number, we're going to measure this out. So I have my 1 tablespoon of the heavy whipping cream. Okay, now I'm just gonna stir that in. You can see it actually makes it fairly light. So if you really don't like black coffee or plain coffee, then you still get a good amount of heavy whipping cream in there, even with 1 tablespoon. Let's test this out. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what's really great and tastes so good with the cold brew is that it really takes away any bitterness. Not that purity has bitterness, because it actually is super smooth. That's one of the main things that my A&P peeps always talk about, is just how smooth the purity coffee is. But this helps to make it even more smooth and almost like caramely flavored, especially when you add in the heavy whipping cream. It just makes it a little bit more rich tasting. And adding in the heavy whipping cream makes it so it does have some fat, helps make it a little bit more satiating than if you just had black coffee, but it does not contain the carbohydrates, at least to that 1 tablespoon amount that will cause any issues with insulin. So therefore you can have this during your fast, during the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge, and not worry about it spiking your insulin or breaking your fast, at least in the terms of what we're looking for those weight loss and fat burning benefits. And you can also use pure coconut cream as well if you're looking for a plant-based approach. But again, it's important that you stick to that 1 tablespoon and that you are using an unsweetened, just pure coconut cream variety. And that should stir in pretty well as well and make it so that you get the same type of iced coffee experience. Now, this is just one of the many amazing recipes you can use with the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge. Some of my favorites include the black bean enchiladas, the LA street tacos, chia brekkie bowl, and of course the peanut butter and chocolate chip cookies that are grain-free and low in sugar. All of these are part of the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge and the meals that you get to use within it. So if you want to join in, if you want to join the A&P peeps with the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge and also use recipes like your new cold brew keto coffee recipe, make sure you check out the deets down in the description below. All right guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I can't wait to start the Summer Intermittent Fasting Challenge with you guys, and I'll see you in my next video.